who are still at home to ensure they get admitted by Monday. Acting Education CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i said when he launched Operation Tupeleke Watoto shuleni, it will be implemented by national government officials from the local administration with the help of county education officials. Now, Wakista Nyabwa is at the coast, and yesterday she filed this report about Operation Peleka Watoto shuleni in Mombasa, which was launched by Education CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i when he stated that the government was targeting a 100% enrollment.
Players in the education sector in the coastal region assembled in Mombasa, Kilifi, Lamu, Kwale, Taita Taveta, Voi and Tana River, the 6 counties making up the region, all represented in the discussion on the Form 1 enrollment crisis in the area. In 2018, Coast registered the lowest turnout in Form 1 in the country. This despite the countrywide launch of the free day secondary education program at a cost of 29 billion shillings.
Unapata kwamba inakuwa ni rahisi kuchangia maharusi, kuchangia mambo tofauti, lakini ikifika ni mambo ya elimu inakuwa tunajikokota. Sasa inabakia kila kitu kinawachiwa ni serikali au ni viongozi waliochaguliwa. Kwa hivyo ni jukumu letu sisi sote kama wapwani kusisitiza ya kwamba ni lazima tujitahidi, tujikakamue, tubadilishe attitude yetu, tupeleke watoto shuleni.
The situation now calling for radical measures. The government has now launched a program to boost enrollment in secondary schools at the coast. As the Wednesday deadline for joining Form 1 lapsed, the government also extended the reporting window in the region to Monday next week.
We have agreed that we are going to have an operation Tupeleke Watoto shuleni in coast, which starts today. And following the directive by the President that the National Government Administration be involved from the Regional Commissioner to the Assistant Chief, working with local county leadership.
The situation a blow to the government's plan for 100% transition from primary to secondary education. The ministry was aiming to have all the more than 900,000 candidates who sat their KCPE in 2017 transition to secondary school. Sources at the meeting with local leaders say high poverty levels, poor infrastructure and insecurity in Lamu and Kilifi counties were cited as some of the reasons for the poor enrollment. There were reports of students whose fees have been paid by the government under the free schooling program, but their parents say they cannot afford school uniforms. In some schools like Madago Secondary School in Kwale County, only 2 out of 90 students had reported to the institution by Tuesday evening. Across the country, about 330,000 students out of 930,000 had not reported to school by Friday last week, the ministry setting out to establish the cause of the poor turnout. The Ministry of Education also unveiled plans to relocate Mamangina Girls Secondary School, a national school, to Shimolatewa, a move aimed at enabling it to expand and accommodate more facilities for students. A sum of 100 million shillings has been set aside for the exercise. The enrollment drive will continue through the weekend, with the ministry scheduled to meet to assess the progress again on Monday, after which it will announce the next step. Wakista Nyabwa, Citizen TV, Mombasa County.
Well, following up on that story, an insider in the Ministry of Education has provided us with some statistics now in regards to Form 1 enrollment for the 6 counties that make up what was Coast Province. Let's begin in Mombasa. Expectations were that 7,505 Form 1 students would report to schools, but only 2,886 have reported. That's 38.45%. This is by the 12th of January 2018. In Kwale, the situation is worse. 10,959 were expected, but only 2,814 reported. That's 25.65%. In Taita Taveta, 10,121 Form 1 students were expected to report to various schools within the county, but only 2,692 reported. And of course, we saw the governor there expressing concern on the same, a 26.6% reporting rate there. Let's take you to some of the other counties now. I believe we have Tana River. Okay, no, Coast. Okay, Tana River. 3,076 were expected, but only 420 have reported, 13.65%. We also had Kilifi County, 19,111 had been expected to join Form 1, but only 8,004 reported. That's 41.76%. That's Kilifi exactly. And if we have no, we've already done Taita Taveta. That's the last one, I believe. So those are some of the statistics. Now, joining me in studio to talk about these worrying numbers and what's happening in Coast, because we haven't seen such numbers in the other counties. I'm joined by Dr. Hezron Mugambi, a lecturer at University of Nairobi. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And right next to him is Akelo Misori, Secretary General, KUPPET. Welcome to the program as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Gentlemen, your thoughts even as you look at some of those numbers. I'll start with you, Dr. Mugambi. What comes to mind when you look at those numbers, that reporting rate in Coast?
Of course, Wahiga, what comes to my mind immediately is that the situation is worrying because, you see, we are talking about an average of around 25%, 25 to 30% enrollment of those students who are expected to be in Form 1, and the government is talking about 100% transition rate. So we can see there's a mismatch. There's a big mismatch between the expectations and what is happening on the ground. So it is a cause for worry for all of us in the education sector in that area, and therefore there is need for concerted effort to know exactly what is happening at the coast, so that the situation can be remedied as fast as possible. Of course, we know that there are many reasons for this, and these reasons will not be necessarily reasons which are affecting now, because there are many reports about education issues, especially along the coast, Kenyan coast.
Okay.
And that
could be. I'm coming back to talk to get your thoughts on what you think some of the reasons are. Yeah. I have some theories, but I'd also like to hear yours as well. Let me get some opening thoughts from Akelo Misori. Your take on some of the numbers and the worrying trend we are seeing in Coast.
What is happening in Coast, as it is revealed from the statistics you have given us, is not any strange from other regions.
Okay,
it is not any strange from other regions.
You have statistics from other regions?
I don't have, but that is actually the trend which is going everywhere, because from where I come from, Homa Bay and even Migori region and so on, there were reported low turnouts, but I don't have specific figures of this, what happens. But one thing, let me just indicate that the timing of reporting was not anticipated by many parents. Secondly, the poverty levels, and given that this is January, usually, traditionally, the students in Form 1 report late January and early February. And therefore, this time round, the results were released, and the time set for reporting was very squeezed. And therefore, you don't expect such kind of...
There was little or no notice for parents.
The parents did not anticipate to take their children to school in January, despite the fact that the results were released. Quite a number of them were still looking for loan facilities to take their children to school. So this is perhaps what happened. But all the same, what is happening is that there is an increasing level of lack of confidence in learning, especially if somebody has got opportunity to think otherwise. Because if they are going to school...
What do you mean by think otherwise? Because we saw the outcry from the majority who did not do well in KC in last year's exams, and many were asking what are they going to do. But you seem to be saying now that it seems that there are many other things students can do.
What I think is that maybe the county governments are also giving provision for the youth polytechnics and so on. And therefore, because there is uncertainty on after the 4 years, what else? So some of them may have chosen to take the shorter route.
From Standard 8 straight to some sort of training center. Yes. My goodness. Okay, I can allow you, Dr. Mugambi, now to give us some of your theories. Akelo Misori has spoken about the timing of reporting, poverty levels across the country, but I can allow you now to come in as well.
Yeah, I think to some extent I want to agree with my friend here, Akelo, that perhaps the issue about knowing Kenyans very well, the issue about timing, would perhaps for some parents be a problem, be a challenge. But again, remember, Wahiga, these results were announced pretty earlier, before Christmas. And before parents and families went to Christmas, they already knew what their children had scored. In fact, as a matter of fact, they already knew whether they were proceeding to secondary and what kind of secondary, depending on the marks which they had scored. So the issue about timing, may be there, and for some other reasons may not be there, because already parents knew. But of course, we are used to a system where Form 1s will be reporting late January, early February, and therefore now it is moved back 1 month. Remember also that the electioneering period also moved really quite into the examination period, and many parents, of course, were involved in all these things, and the spending during Christmas and all that. So that might have confused some parents, and therefore the timing may not have worked well the way they thought would happen. But more importantly, the situation at the coast, I think, apart from that, we also have to remember that, as my colleague or my friend here said, insecurity is a big problem. As a matter of fact, you have seen leaders from that region talking about the Al-Shabaab menace and the issue about insecurity, and walking to school and going to school, transporting children to school has contributed to this. And this is not for the first time, because over a period of time, the last 4 or 5 years, when insecurity has been a problem, we have seen it even affect schools directly, where schools have been closed because of those attacks or fear of the attacks. And this has been really a problem. In fact, some parents have been able to forced to move their children to other schools because of that. But also the issue about poverty. In the coast, if you look at the counties around the coast, and looking at Tana River, which has 13.6, the poverty levels in Tana River are very high. And you must give it to those parents to try and ensure that these students actually attend school and they are able to take care of their normal family interests. And therefore, the issue about poverty is something which the leadership at the coast, political and otherwise, will need to come together and discuss and see, as the governor of Taita Taveta has just mentioned, why would it be that families will actually contribute actively for weddings and other things, but when it comes to education, they cannot contribute for himself. So why is it this collective, but the other one is not collective?
Do you think some parents would rather, once their children have finished on a date, send them to start going to look for money, go and do small jobs, a market?
I think
go and work in the hotels.
It is the question of about perception. What do I think my child, my daughter, my son will benefit over and above going through past class 8 or primary school?
Okay.
Or would I rather they go to manual jobs or be fixed along the beaches and get some, kind of jobs where they get money more directly, which helps them in the family,
yes,
alleviates the issues, the day-to-day issues in the family and all that.
Right.
Vis-a-vis taking, as Mr. Kello said, taking this child through Form 1 to Form 4, which is a whole 4 years, instead of fixing what will be an immediate need in the family.
Let me interrupt you there, even as we cross back to coast, specifically Kwale County. Nikki Gitonga wants to take us or show us a school that is in a dire condition, that really needs a lot of work. And of course, that's part of the reason why possibly even interest in education might be dropping in certain parts of some of those counties. Nikki, what can you tell us?
Yeah, thank you, Waiga. Right now I'm at Mwaka Secondary School. This is a day school here in Kwale County at Kinondo Ward, Msambweni constituency. It's one of the schools that has been highly affected by by the enrollment. Very few students actually have joined. Right now I'm joined by the principal, Madam Luchemo. She's going to tell us more about the enrollment here in school and how many students so far have joined the school since the exercise started for the Form 1s to join this school. It's one of the school, even the performance in this school is not that good. It's going to tell us more the challenges maybe that are facing the student in this institution. Madam Luchemo, kindly you can just come close and tell us maybe how many students were you expecting and how many so far have reported in the school so far as we speak.
Okay, thank you very much. As a school, we were expecting 45 students in Form 1. Yes. Unfortunately, as at now, and right behind you, there's one more admission, so that makes my 5th admission. So I only have 5 students.
What makes the student not to come to your school? Why is it that there are only 5? We know that this is a day school. There's so many people neighboring, there are neighbors within. It's a school within the village. We expected a student to be here. Why is it that people are not turning up to school?
Well, the catchment area is nice. We have several primary schools around, but I believe the infrastructure plays a big role for students to come to our school. And apart from infrastructure, there's teaching staff. Unfortunately, we are only 2 government teachers, and we have 7 BOM teachers. And the challenges of the population in terms of payment of the teachers, it becomes very bad, as in sometimes you delay in pay and you find 1 teacher, 2 teachers, next time they do not come. So we may not really also have steady having the teachers being in throughout the year. And you know, this change of teachers can also affect. Then there's an issue of the facilities. It's a school that does not have electricity. We are still in the process of ensuring there's electricity so that at least we can go computer and do many things. Then there is the issue of water. We actually get water from the neighbor. We have no piped water. We do not have a borehole. I've done, sending out letters and all this. At least this year we've been promised around May there's going to be a project for a water project in the school, and I believe that that was going to make the place much better and for the students to be more feel more welcome to the school. We did not have textbooks. Students were purchasing, but when I came into the school 2016, the students now have textbooks. At least they are getting books from the school and they are able to be in class and study. So I'm just praying that the population will increase.
How many students do you have from Form 1 to Form 4 as you speak?
Basically, I'm supposed to have 160 students when we do 40. Yes. 40 times 4, because it's a single stream. But I'm not having 160, I'm having less than 80 students, the whole school.
How is the performance? I know it's not the first time for your school to do KCSE. Yeah. How is the performance so far?
The performance is not good. It's below average because the type of students that I bring that come to the school score below 200 marks. If you have any good ones, the highest would be 250. But the rest are below. And at times it's a challenge to pull up 190 marks to get a B. So we are at 2.2 thereabout.
So maybe your last take because of time. What do you think that is supposed to be done?
What can be done? Number one, we need teachers. If the government can post teachers here so that teachers are permanently in school, parents are going to know that there's a school and the students are there and they are learning. When we get teachers, government teachers, the syllabus shall be covered because they are going to be steadily in school. There will be no influx of in, out. Number two, infrastructure. This money that goes to schools, the schools that have normally get. Those of us who don't have, we don't get. 2 million, if it's brought, we can do quite a lot. We can fence the school, we can put up very many things, and the school can be a school. Yes. So that is what I can say.
Well, that's Madam Lechemo, the principal of Muhaka Secondary School. According to her, the infrastructure is not good, and even she has very few teachers who will be able to finish or to complete the syllabus. That's all we have for now. Waiga, back to you.
Nikki, very worrying stats there. They were expecting 40 to 45 students to join Form 1 there, but you're saying only 5 have arrived and the 5th one has just arrived and were arriving even as you're doing that link. Definitely a worrying situation there. And let me get the thoughts of my guests here in studio. Tupeleke Watoto shuleni. Kelo, let me start with you. Is that going to work? Does that sound like an initiative that in a high-tech world that we live in, it seems almost very manual? You know, going door to door, almost telling, look, is there a Form 1 student here? Can they come and join school now? At least that's what it sounds like. What are your thoughts?
Let me just dismiss the Cabinet Secretary's endeavor to push everybody to school. That is very colonial in approach and in making people realize the value of education. And one thing which has been exposed by the head teacher of that school, she has categorically said that there is what we call the infrastructure. That is what drives the children to school. That's because Kenyans have known the value of education. And then there is the element of the teacher component. How do you expect children to go to school? To just to be taught. And for example, those teachers who are BOM teachers do not even qualify to teach in that school, because they are the people who do not have the registration for the Teacher Service Commission. So these are issues which are not adding up in terms of these knee-jerk policy directions. If the Constitution says that we need to have the child of this country has got the right to education, then what are the proactive issues that we are engaging to ensure that at least the child has a right to education? Are we investing in education? Do we have sufficient budgetary allocation to ensure that we have enough teachers, we have enough infrastructure in schools? Like, for example, what is not shown in that camera is that expose is whether that school has got a laboratory. Lab is a very important component in the curriculum, whether the one which is coming or the one which is being
we haven't seen the lab, but she did say that there are challenges nevertheless.
There are challenges. If there is no electricity in that school and she's saying there is no water, which kind of parent would take the children to such a school when there are other options? Because the other schools which are stable are also asked to open up day schools. Like, for example, we have got a policy currently where the schools in Nairobi or in the urban centers, which are big enough, already having over 1,000 students, are being asked to open a day school. Why couldn't the ministry open up or expand the existing day schools which do not have infrastructure? These established schools have been given infrastructure funding from the Ministry of Education. So it does not add up. But all said and done, the right to education is a constitutional provision in this country. We must have deliberate approach to ensure that it is guaranteed through infrastructure in schools, employing so many teachers, and ensuring that every person enjoys these rights.
Okay. Dr. Mugambi, let me get your thoughts on the same even as we wrap up this discussion.
Thank you. Before we went to the reporter, you know, I was looking at the issues at the coast, and one of those issues I wanted to talk about was infrastructure, and I'm very happy the principal there captured that, and that includes as many things as she said: electricity, water, the laboratories Mr. Kelo is talking about, and all those things. And above all, although in other areas of Kenya we have these challenges, but I think in that area the challenges are more than other areas, and it's because of what Governor Samboja said, that looks like parents in that area have not valued education to the level where all of them can come together and ensure that not only support what government does, but ensure that the children who are their own children and the schools which are their own schools have these facilities through partnerships, through pushing even government both at the county level and at the national level to ensure that these things exist. In any case, Maura, when we talk about day schools like this one's missing students, what are we talking about? This is an infrastructure. This is public money which has been used on such facilities or such schools. But again, it is the same parents, it is us parents who will again say this school is not the best for me. That's correct. But I would rather fight to ensure that my child goes to Kwale High School, which is a national school, or goes to Alliance. What happens if all of us wanted to go to Alliance? We must start now building schools which are in our areas, and that's why I think parental involvement, community involvement in schools, in ensuring that schools, we build the right schools, we help and support the government and other agencies to ensure that in our area of operation, in our areas where we are, we have the best quality of schools so that the child can walk from home to school and back without caring that I want to go to another school, because that is where quality is.
Okay, thank you. Our time is up, but I suspect you have a 30-second comment to make. I can give you that chance to wind up with that, Akelo.
While I accept all the effort that the Cabinet Secretary is engaged to ensure that children are in school, the aspect which must be addressed, which will make the project sustainable, is to ensure that the government, through its mandate to guarantee the right to education, is having proactive investment strategy in education.
Okay.
So that we have confidence in whatever they are doing.
Okay, and that's how we wrap up this discussion. Thank you so much, Dr. Hezron Mugambi, a lecturer at UON, for coming to share your thoughts with us, and Akelo Misori, Secretary General KUPPET as well. I guess we're going to have to wait and see, maybe a week or two or so, get more stats, and then find out whether Operation Tupeleke Watoto Shuleni is working or not. And of course, you can expect more coverage in regards to this from Citizen TV in the course of the next couple of days. You're watching Citizen Extra. When we return, election petitions. We take a look at the statistics that the IEBC have released on the same. How the cases gone at the courts. Who are some of the big winners, who are some of the big losers as well, and what are the trends that we can see there, or what some of the data that we can take out of how the courts have ruled in regards to election petitions after a very busy politicking period in 2017. That's one of our discussions. When we return, we'll be right back.